Hopefully, Dilkily, I think I am now live. Just a moment while I make sure everything is up and running before we get started. Okay. Beautiful. Looking great. Awesome. Definitely live here. We'll get started with the weed stuff in just a moment. Well, it looks like we've got Zach 420 with us again. Welcome back, Zach. Fun to say. I'm going to grab our first bag in your honor again today, sir. Thanks for joining us. Hope all is well in Indiana, if I'm remembering correctly. Cool beans. Let's go grab that right now. First bag of the day. Exciting. Fun stuff ahead. Thank you to anybody who watched the premiere, by the way. I'm not sure if anybody was there. I wasn't really paying too great attention. Sorry about that. Thank you, anybody who was there. Of course, thank you, anybody joining us today for the live stream. Godzo Baptist. Welcome, Godzo. Says, what going on? Not too much. Godzo Baptist, welcome back. Hope all is well with you. Zach is currently enjoying some peach cobbler packed nicely in a bowl. Well, nice, man. I'm glad you're getting high with us, Zach. And peach cobbler sounds excellent, both in weed variety and, baked variety, too. Well, kind of. I'm not much of a cobbler guy. I like saying cobbler. It's a funny word. And also, cobbler, very funny word for sure. And I'm not sure how the baked good became known as a cobbler, maybe because it's cobbled together. But a cobbler is a professional term. One of those weird, terms for a specific job. And a cobbler, at least historically, unless I'm totally mistaken, is a shoemaker. Weird, right? You've got your coopers, your barrel makers, and your cobblers, your shoemakers. There's actually a terrible Adam Sandler movie that I've never seen, directed by a guy who is normally way better. A guy who directed a great movie called The Station Agent, The Visitor, Win-Win. And oddly enough, the pilot of Game of Thrones, Tom McCarthy. Oh, and he won an Oscar for, what's that Boston paper movie about the Boston newspaper that broke the Catholic sexual abuse scandal? Whatever that movie's called. He also directed that. But in between those great movies I mentioned at the beginning and the Boston Globe movie about Catholics being disgusting pedophiles, he directed a feel-good Adam Sandler comedy called The Cobbler. And Adam Sandler makes shoes and makes dreams comes true or something. Who the fuck knows? I don't think anybody saw it. The Cobbler. It is both a flaky dessert replete with fruit in an Adam Sandler movie, as all things should be. Zach 420 asked the great question of what are some of my favorite strains. Zach, not to get too deep into the weeds already, but I'm a big fan of. I'm not a huge fan of anything. I like all weed a lot. Not a big strain guy, but if I had to, go desert island and somebody said, "You're gonna take one particular strain with you," and I was forced to pick something, I would say Gorilla Glue, number 4. But that that also comes with a shoulder shrug emoji, and that it's like, I totally respect people who love their individual strains and get a lot of enjoyment and variation out of different kinds of weed. But for me, largely, weed is weed, because I'm not a very discerning guy internally. Uh, it's pretty flat in here. Gonzo Baptist seems like he's one of those rare weirdos that actually saw The Cobbler, a movie he describes in such wonderfully contradictory terms as both terrible and yet a movie he loved, which seems to be the national spirit behind all Adam Sandler movies. Both terrible and yet beloved. I randomly, like 2 years ago, with my partner for the first time since high school, early high school, rewatched Billy Madison on a total bullshit lark for no reason other than it was there on HBO Max and I was pretty high. And I was rather shocked to find out that it held up better than I thought it would. There are, of course, aspects that don't age very well, but then there are things that are, there's no way you would ever call the movie nuanced, but there are things about it that are a little more light of touch than I would have guessed from an Adam Sandler movie made in the first half of the 90s. Billy Madison. It's the movie where Adam Sandler, as an adult man, goes back to school, each grade, for 2 weeks, all the way through high school. Check it out, or don't. You'll be fine either way. Zach says he'd rather have a variety because why else would there be such a large variety of different weed? Good question, Zach. Great question. Why would there be so many varieties and kinds of weed if not for the fact that they all did different things? Well, Zach, my only possible retort to that is, why are there so many brands of acetaminophen? Like, it's because it's a bunch of companies one in on the pie, and they figure the best way to do it is to come up with a label or a brand or some kind of hook that gets you interested in it. But the molecule is the molecule at the end of the day. Acetaminophen is acetaminophen, THC is THC. Now, I know terpenes, however, can have very, what do they call it? The entourage effect, individual mild differences that strains can produce with terpenes that people can detect. And all of that together can come with some variation in the strain. But for me, I kind of, what would you describe it? I see weed less of as a, a hamburger and more of as an orange, if that makes any sense. Less like a hamburger, it's like, oh, there are definitely restaurants that you like the burger at better than the other one. Like a burger is not a burger is not a burger. Like they're different. But an orange or a banana, even better. A banana is a banana is a banana is a banana. It's a commodity good. Like it is the same wherever you purchase it. I am not saying that is true for weed. That is obviously not true. There are quality differences, the amount of THC. But my vision of weed is, especially once you flatten out like, oh, the quality level, how well it's been dehydrated, how much, what THC percentage is in it, how well it's been stored, all those kind of things. Once you sort of even those out, I can't help but view it more as a commodity good, even though I know most people see it more as something that, there's a lot of individual input on. And I am pleased. I think absolutely, though, Zach 420, people have their favorites, and I am all for it. Totally support it. Me, again, dial tone in the brain. I have no ability to discern things other than just like me high, me not high. very caveman-like in that way. Me feel good, me no feel good. And I hope that was interpreted as a slight at our ancient brothers and not any other kind of mockery of any other group in saying me no feel good, me no feel me feel good, me no feel good. Because I was trying to imitate like Grog. Carpe Byatt, welcome back, Carpe Byatt. Good to see you. He asked, what's going on? Wheat, not too much, Carpe Byatt. What's going on with you? I got to get through this first bag. I haven't even done that yet. And then we'll get one in for Gonzo Baptist and Carpe Byatt. Gonzo Baptist also asks, have I ever seen Little Nicky? Adam Sandler plays the son of the devil. I have seen Little Nicky. I've seen it more than once. I would say it's it's certainly one of his most forgotten movies. Boy, I would have trouble putting Little Nicky in a time and place year. My powers fail me because it's going to be right on the line. I'm going to say Little Nicky is going to be like, March 2000. Maybe 2001. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know why I'm doing that. I have seen it. Totally forgotten movie. I think it was his first bomb, too. Like, it was his first movie that didn't just blow expectations out the water. Adam Sandler was kind of a phenom. Still is a box office phenom, even though movies only come out on Netflix, but they do extremely well there. But I think Little Nicky was his first bomb. And I don't remember much about it other than like the mind gymnastics. Like they're like trying to invade somebody's mind, two people competing or something. I don't remember much about it. It wasn't very good, even on the relative Adam Sandler scale. It's no Remember the Zohan. It's no Jack and Jill. Let's just say that. It ain't no Jack and Jill. It certainly as shit ain't no Grown Ups 2. Adam Sandler did get me to see my first Paul Thomas Anderson movie in theaters, though, that I certainly wouldn't have gotten to see if Adam Sandler weren't in it. I have, my parents are boorish, dumb people, and they love a good Adam Sandler movie. So, like many others, when the movie Punch Drunk Love premiered in October, I think, 2001, right after 9/11, let's go see an Adam Sandler movie to make us all feel better as a nation. Little did we know that Adam Sandler was going to be in the movie, from the director of Magnolia and Boogie Nights. You just thought Adam Sandler, you thought hilarious hijinks, and instead you get a 10-minute opening shot of a car wreck that happens off stage with Adam Sandler just sitting there sipping his coffee. And I loved it. I think I loved it. I said I loved it at the time. But my parents certainly didn't. Punch Drunk Love, Paul Thomas Anderson. If you haven't seen it, whenever Adam Sandler sort of decides that he's going to break off from his Adam Sandler shtick, it actually works pretty well. Punch Drunk Love, Spanglish, the totally forgotten and I think kind of underrated Reign Over Me. Speaking of 9/11, a 9/11 drama really swings for the fences on that one. Don Cheadle, Adam Sandler, Reign Over Me. Totally forgotten movie from like 2007 something. Anyways, we're talking way too much about Adam Sandler. Zach asks, what's your take on all that Delta 8 and 10 crap? Well, this is how out of the loop I am, Zach. I didn't even realize that we had that 10 was a thing yet. Of course, I've been hearing about 8 for the better part of like 2 years now. I still have never tried it, and I hear mostly mixed things. The people who seem to give it rave reviews don't seem to have access to weed on a regular basis, and those that give it more mixed reviews seem to have, very easy access to good weed. So I haven't been rushing out to try it with that in mind. I'm curious though, Zach, if you have and what your take is. Carpet Bayek says, it's like a coffee. Does the same overall thing with differences accommodating to the user. Yes, Carpe Bayek. That's an excellent analogy. Yeah, it is, that's a perfect analogy, or sort of in between the burger and the banana is the cup of coffee. Great suggestion. And I think weed would be like that, where it sits somewhere between a commodity good and like not a luxury good, but something where there is way more distinction in the product category. And coffee, yeah, I think is an excellent analogy. Thank you. Zach says, now that you mention it, I miss A Burgers down in Dana Point. Ooh, I've never had A Burgers. I've actually still not been to Dana Point. I've been to Laguna, as we mentioned yesterday, and been to Newport, been to all the Orange County beaches, basically, but never to Dana Point. And let me know if it's worth the trip. Sean. Hello, Sean. Welcome, Sean. I'm not 100% sure if you've hung out with us before or not, but if you have, welcome back. If not, thanks for joining us. He asked, what brand e-nail do you have? I have a mini nail and love it. Well, Sean, thank you for the reminder that you didn't know you were giving me to turn my mini nail on before we do this dab. And mine, I think I just said it, is also a mini nail. And I also like it a lot. I think it's the best dab solution that is not torch-based, the best non-torch-based dab setup, which to me is pretty crucial because I really don't want to use a big flame anymore. Too clumsy for that. Too clumsy. And I like polyester too much. I'm going on an all polyester clothing binge soon. I'm going to move over 100%. I want to go up like a fucking Hindenburg anytime I get within 6 inches of an open flame. I think it'd be a real cool look. So another reason shouldn't have a torch in the house. Is polyester the one is the one that's super flammable, or was? I don't know anything about. I should. Polyester flammable. Most synthetic fabrics, such as nylon or acrylic or polyester, resist ignition, but it'll still melt. Whatever it was, fabrics that people were wearing in the 70s that caused them to just poof. That's for me. Let's get through this second bag. I've barely made a dent. This one was for Gonzo and Carpe Bayek, I believe. Welcome, Stephanie. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us again. Zach says, I've tried both, and 10 is better than 8, in his opinion, but as per usual, weed is always better. Well, thank you so much for your input there, Zach, and to anybody who is out there looking into that situation, maybe that will be helpful. And good to know that 10 is superior to 8, so if I ever am in a place with both and I'm feeling adventurous, go with that higher number. Stephanie says that Dana Point is beautiful. Well, there is another sort of tick for its favor to go visit. I assume it's not that much further than all of the others. I'm not sure how I missed it. Maybe it's at the very bottom. But man, yeah, Laguna is incredibly nice. Laguna Beach, it's tiny, super, super, super tiny, the actual like beach. But there are some amazingly cool rock formations right there at the public beach, sculpted by eons of tidal waves. There are also really cool tidal pools to go play around in and look at all the neat aquatic life. Speaking of aquatic life, got to see nice pot of dolphins this morning. And then I think I've only seen it, this is only the third time I've seen it since I've lived here, these giant Pacific sea slug. There was one washed up on the beach, and they are massive, 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 nasty looking goobers. But thankfully, no dogs decided to chow down. And Zach, of course, schools me that Dana Point is right below Laguna, which makes total sense. And now I know some fun road trip for some weekend in the future. Sean says he's joined chat before, but it's been over a year. Well, welcome back, Sean. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. All right, let's get through this bag. We promise it. Really gonna do it here. And then we'll go get a dab for Sean and Stephanie. First of the day. I forgot to also mention, going to be a shorter stream today. Unfortunately, I have some plans later this afternoon, and we'll have to cut it a little bit shorter than normal, but I'll try to remind you guys closer to time. Number 2 done. Sean, Stephanie, this is for you. Sean, maybe, I'm not sure if you're around your email or not, but maybe we could either do this dab together, but if not actually together, then in spirit. That's too big. Goldilocks soon. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cheers. Figure I'm gonna need this. Woo. Wow. If history is any guide, we're in for several minutes of coughing. I will remember to mute my mic before I blow my nose. It was considerate of me. probably mute it for coughing too. Woo! Easy does it. Okay. Sean is doing some much nicer weed on his now. He's doing some blue cherry pie Stevie live rosin, which sounds quite nice. I keep forgetting that Steezy is also in the actual concentrates game as well, not just the vaporizers. I wonder how it's doing for them, and I wonder how well brands do when they move from. You do see it pretty often where edible brands, once they establish themselves, will move into, and it's most often concentrates, although sometimes you do see flour. And I wonder how well that works out for them. Like, I wonder how well Steezy's edible business does, for example. They've had several different lines of gummies over the years. And I'm not sure if it's because they're refining, because they're super popular and they're just trying to get the best method, or if they've not had one that really has caught on yet. I also I'm not sure, and I'm really curious, and I think everybody is trying to figure it out, how brand sensitive people are to weed right now. It seems like it's growing. It seems like a lot of weed distributors, whether it's concentrates or flour, people are borrowing from the exclusive retail model, the drop thing, where you basically underprice your product relative to demand to just gin up as much demand as possible, and then sell things not at like traditional retail, but in drops where you like show up at a retail place or on a specific one day, release all of your product, then sell it in waves. I do see that a lot of that happening, and I know some of them are experiencing some success. Like the amount of people that ask me about Jungle Boys that live on the East Coast. I've never tried them myself, but they're doing something right. But outside of that, I don't know how brand sensitive people are to weed. It is certainly nothing like alcohol. People don't have or the great majority of people who consume weed don't have their Coors Light or their Shiner Bock or their, just trying to come up with the name of a gin, but failed. And then was not fast enough to also come up with the name of any other alcohol, like specific brand name. Whatever that fancy whiskey everybody says that I don't know how to pronounce. That's that fancy sounding one. I don't know. Danny, welcome back, Danny. So good to see you, man. How are you doing? Sean says Steezy rosin and live resin dabbables are excellent in his opinion. I was skeptical, but now they are a go-to for quality and price. I appreciate that input, Sean. I will now definitely be on the lookout for doing some rosin, and I've always wanted to try rosin, actual rosin. And I've done live resin many a times, both in vaporizer form and concentrates. And I do find the quality to be better generally. But I still have never done rosin. You are not Sean, the first person to come here and sing its praises. Further, I've reviewed some rosin edibles recently and found them to be surprisingly potent, like a noticeable difference, which I did not expect. So I really need to give rosin concentrates a shot. They are more, but they're not that much more. You may have pushed me over the line, the edge, next time I'm at the dispensary. All right, well, let's get ourselves a third bag going. And Danny, get this one for you. As you happen to be here, right now. I was hoping, guys, to come in with a really fun, well, I don't know how fun it would be for you, but it's going to be fun for me. Surprise. But, good old FedEx, the worst of the delivery companies, far and away. God, is FedEx terrible. Conspired not to make that happen. My Steam Deck was supposed to be delivered today, but now appears to be lost somewhere in Arizona. And I was gonna have a lot of fun. I have been like very excited for a while, and I don't know why. Like, it's been a while since some kind of gadget or gizmos gotten that blood pressure pumping. But I have heard so many people will go like, guys, the Steam Deck might be my favorite console of all time already. The amount of people have said that and kind of like intimated that, it gives me goosebumps. I've been just like incredibly excited for a very long time. It's if you don't know what it is, as I sit here rambling, just stumbling over myself trying to describe its glory. Maybe, I hope. I thought it looked real dumb when I first saw it, but I'm ready to eat crow. Looked really poorly designed, like in terms of the ergonomics, but all the reviews say it is way more comfortable than the Switch. Steam Deck, of course, is Valve's. Valve being the owner of Steam, the PC game store, and still the largest, and of course, developer of Half-Life and Team Fortress and VR pioneers. Their portable PC. It's a big old slab of gaming console that plays your Steam library. And it's super exciting. And we all pre-ordered it a whole year and a month ago. And darn it, FedEx, you done it again. But I guess I was just planning on being like, guys, look at this cool slab of glass and plastic that I have. Banana boo-boo. Unless you guys got one already, and then good for you. And then please rub it in my face. Sean says, I find rosin to be easier on the lungs compared to BHO, butane hash oil, which is probably still the most common way of making concentrates, distillates rather, or some kind of very similar process. He says he's been gravitating towards it despite the higher cost. Steezy's rosin tends to be cheaper than other brands, and he lives here in Los Angeles. Well, cool, man. Have you been to the giant Steezy store? They're like headquarters slash I guess dispensary. I've yet to go. I've seen it many times going into the city. And it's a very impressive looking operation, but I've yet to actually go in. Um, and again, I appreciate all the information on your what you're giving us about rosin. Again, piquing my interest even more. John has never been to the big, massive Steezy warehouse somewhere close to BTLA. OJ Simp. What a name. OJ Simp says, if I give you $1,000, can I cut your ponytail? Curious, OJ. Very curious. Before I answer, can I ask what the motivations for your question is? Is it disgust over my pony? Is it like, do you really, do you hate the long hair on a man? Reasonable, totally understandable. No hate. None of these are presented with any judgment. Is it that you want to make a really shitty wig with some really badly taken care of hair? Because to call this hair is maybe a misnomer. It's more atomized things that, you know, it doesn't really resemble much hair at this point. It's once you get down to here at this point, it's just this, it's like a cat of 9 tails, but squared. So a cat of 81 tails, I guess. Each hair is just split into endless little bits. I don't know why I'm talking about my hair so much there, but or is it because you have like, I know some people, there's like a compulsion. Some people have like a compulsion to cut people's hair off, and it causes a lot of trauma for people if, you know, their hair is cut off. But there are people who like are compelled to do it. Sure, it's some weird psychological quirk, or something altogether different. Of course, there are many, many reasons why you would want to offer it. If you answer, I'll be happy to answer your question. Carpe Byte says, I'm about to spark up this pre-roll. Cheers to me. Well, thanks, man. Carpe, this, I hope you enjoy that pre-roll. I was going to say this bag is for you, but this is for Danny, obviously. We did a bag for you. We just didn't meet at the right point in time, but we'll get there. Enjoy the pre-roll. OJ says, no, he's got long hair too. He just wants to know the importance of my ponytail. Where the importance of my ponytail is at. Excellent question then, OJ. OJ, I love questions for the sake of curiosity. Genuinely do. And OJ, if I'm correct, if I'm not mistaken, I think the description of this video says, ask a cool question, get some weed consumed in your honor, which means that for sure, this next bag or dab will be for you. And the answer is no, not for $1,000. But I don't, not for $1,000. If you add 1 0, things could, you know, would obviously be way, 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 way more. The discussion would go further. I don't know how much to read into the fact, though, how much it means to me. That's such a. I've never had anybody ask that question before, OJ. Um, and thank you for allowing me to say your name, OJ Simp, over and again. Um, and it's a fun thing to ponder. Let's get to this bag, and then let's get your bag or dab. Get to call it yourself too, if you name it before I get there, and we'll talk about it. Welcome, Tony Dace. Happy to have you back, Tony. And Rhode Island Hiker. Oh shit, Rhode Island Hiker. I have to do it here on YouTube. It'll take me a second. I meant to do it. Oh, I also missed a message from OJ that got picked up by the moderator, the auto mod, that said, "Oh, I'm two hands choking anyone who runs up and cuts off the hair. You got the hippie vibe going, and respect to that. But I'll kill a man fucker." Let's let that alone. That's great. That's great content. And then I forgot to do this yesterday. Rhode Island Hiker, I randomly modded up a bunch of old people who've been here a long time, and forgot to add you. Wanted to do it before I forgot. Rhode Island Hiker says he grabbed some $4 live rosin carts on sale from my local dispensary. Holy shit, Rhode Island Hiker. I hope you grabbed every one that your hands could hold and the dispensary would allow you to purchase for that price. Deal of the century, my friend. Very nice. I had my windfall, my can't believe the prices were too good to be true. My favorite local dispensary chain was clearancing a bunch of brands out. They were just like sweeping house, and if it wasn't one of 10 different lines at that moment, it was gone, and they had so much inventory. So they were already doing this huge inventory fire sale, and then on New Year's Day, they just had a giant 40% off everything in the store sale, and they let those things stack. And while I don't think I ever got anything approaching $4 live rosin carts, I did get some really nice, like, $10 gram cartridges that lasted quite some time. It's one of those things where it's like, no matter how much you would have spent, you regret not spending more, because boy, oh boy. Anyways, Rhode Island Hiker says he grabbed 10, and then went back the next morning and grabbed 10 more. Good instincts, Rhode Island Hiker. Excellent instincts. You ever see something that good? Always stock up. Sometimes you end up with 2 freezers full of Eggo waffles, but you also end up with 25 movie tickets. That's a story for another day. I still have to talk about, I still want to go more into OJ's question about hair. Finishing this bag. Gonna do our 4th bag in his honor. As he asked a cool question. How much does long hair mean to me? I guess a little bit. I've not always had long hair. Basically, I've had long hair as long as I've lived in Southern California. So for about 6 years or so. Maybe it took me a year to grow it out. But I wanted long hair for a while before that, and it just sort of took me the courage. Took me a while to get the courage and also laziness to both let it get long enough to say, I'm going to continue to let this happen. So, it was those concurrence of those two things, like, yes, ready to have long hair. And yes, I've gone too long without getting a haircut because just getting haircuts effing sucks to the max. So it's happening. But I never wanted long hair as a kid. Never really thought about hair. Always had very messy, dumb hair. I can tell you, I can actually pinpoint the moment in my life though where I was like, oh man, dudes with long hair look dope. I had a man crush on. We've talked about Lost a couple of times on stream. Lost, if you're out there, hello. He's also a fan. At least the person with his name. There was a character named Desmond who had long hair, and I thought he looked super badass, and I wanted to look like Desmond. So, and then it just took me another 10 years to actually do it. But yeah, that's the story of the long hair. So I've had it for a while now, but I don't know how, like, I don't think I would be devastated. Like, if somebody came up and just snipped it off, I would not be depressed. It wouldn't be something that would, like, really get me down. I would be very irritated for sure, super confused, but I don't know if I would be, like, devastated. But, and this is why humans are totally weird and we don't make any sense at all. I think I would be devastated if I had, say, $1,000 in my wallet and I lost my wallet. But I wouldn't value my hair at $1,000, yet I wouldn't be devastated if my hair were to be snipped off. Which doesn't make any sense, according to, the rational view of the human brain, and, well, not the human brain, but the rational economics model of the way the human brain should work. Those things should be equivalent. There should be no contradiction there. The same level of pain I would feel should be equivalent between money and hair loss, but it doesn't work that way. Or maybe I'm just lying to myself, and if somebody comes and I get a mad snipper, they snip me, maybe I'll go into a tailspin and, never go into a depression, never to arise again. Who knows? Sounds like an opportunity for a good natural experiment. Charlie Rico, welcome. Charlie, welcome back. Good to see you again, Charlie. Hope all is well with you. Rhode Island Hiker says he knew he was going bald, so he's been shaving his head since he was 18. And he's 38 now. Good for you. I hope I can... I don't know how much longer I can continue. I think I have hair, but I think I'm also good at self-deception, as we just were talking about. So maybe it's time, but the second it looks bad, it's all going. I do have a really gnarly scar on the top of my head too, so I'll have a pretty cool conversation piece when a Chrome Dome moment arrives. Boy, male pattern baldness. It is almost made some really crass analogies. But boy, it's one of the many minor health, or let's say health problems that we experience that have perennially been on the cusp of being solved my entire life. We've always just hit the biggest breakthrough. Seems like, every couple of years, but I don't blame the scientists, more so the reporting. Uninspired. Oh my God, thank you so much. That's so very, very kind of you. Super appreciate that. And we're going to have to give you the next dab in your honor. Thanks so much.
Who makes your favorite rotisserie chicken?
Uninspired. Who makes our favorite rotisserie chicken? You would get a dab in your honor even without the incredible generosity. But the answer has to be, obviously, is Kenny Rogers, right? It can't not be. He also made the best version of Jackass, so he's got to have the best version of rotisserie chicken. We miss you, Kenny. You were. I don't know if I know what you look like other than as either a vaguely blurry image I have in the recollection of your face on the chicken restaurant in my memory of you as a youth, so like some kind of blurry image in my head, and also Will Sasso playing you on Jackass. So I don't know if I actually remember what you look like, but it's something like that. You made a goddamn good chicken. Costco ain't got nothing on you. Welcome, Chicago. Good to have you back, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Rhode Island Hiker. This is how we know Rhode Island Hiker is such classy people. Even before we saw what a excellent fan of deals he is. How prudent he is. He's a Desmond fan too. He says Desmond is his favorite character from Lost, and in fact, it's why he calls people brother. How dope is that, brother? Desmond, what a cool character. What a great accent. What are you doing? I haven't seen him since Lost. I have no idea. I don't think I've seen him in anything. But he was a great man inside of a hatch 20 years ago. Yes, sorry, Chicago, welcome. And Chicago says, I was literally thinking about this shit earlier. I think my hairline is going, and it runs on my mom's side of the family. Well, Chicago, fun factoid about running on your mom's side, it's the only side it can run on. This is I don't know a lot, but I know a couple of factoids that I like to bring out at every party I've ever been invited to. So I've, got to tell this to people twice, which is male pattern baldness. The three diseases that are highly associated with men, but not exclusively. But we're talking like 80% or greater, especially 90% on two of them or higher. One is exclusively men. These three genetic diseases, conditions affect almost exclusively men, but they are all inherited matrilineally exclusively. And those are male pattern baldness, color blindness, and the saddest Klinefelter's syndrome, which is being XXY instead of XY, having an extra X chromosome, which makes you sterile and does other. You live a long life, but you can't procreate, and it's not. It's sad for the people who have it because most of them don't find out until later. So I'm sorry for the annoying fun fact, but it only matters when it comes to male pattern baldness what your mother's side of the family looks like. Your father's side contributes nothing to that equation. All inherited matrilineally. Weird. Carpe Buy It. I have not forgotten Uninspired, by the way. I owe you a dab. And guys, by the way, I'm sorry, I said earlier I had to do a shorter stream. So I've got probably 10, 15 minutes left before I've got to wrap up, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up here. Carpe Buy It asks, Wheats, are you a PC gamer or console? And why? Good question. I'm going to go do the dab for Uninspired. And Kenny Rogers, as our favorite manufacturer of rotisserie chicken. And we'll talk about gaming in just a moment. Another annoying party fun factoid. This one I just learned relatively recently, although I feel like I'm the only one who didn't know this one, so maybe it won't be as annoying at parties. Is that rotisserie chickens there's a known price, one of those weird why would this be? And it's uniformly true at grocery stores everywhere. The cost of the rotisserie chicken is cheaper than the cost of the fresh, not already cooked whole chicken. The whole chicken that has not been cooked, hasn't had the labor of being thoroughly cooked and added with all the spices and shit, all the labor, all the energy costs that come with it. It's cheaper for the boiled chicken, the actually cooked one, than the uncooked one, for the simple fact that the rotisserie chickens are chickens that are nearing the end of their shelf life or their sell-by date, and it extends their life by a little bit by cooking it and selling it as rotisserie chicken. So it's a little bit of clever, I think, shuffling of the board at the grocery store, rearranging of product. And you benefit, like they don't charge you more, the cooked chicken is cheaper. Anyways, thank you so much, Uninspired. Here we go. Seems like we got a clog here somewhere. I learned that in an excellent book that I read a year ago called The Secret Life of Groceries, or The Secret Life of Grocery Stores. I can't remember which. One of those two titles, which is just a fantastic short little book. A good old-fashioned stunt journalism. The guy goes out and embeds himself at every different level of the grocery industry, whether it be working at a grocery store or working with truck drivers who deliver the groceries, or working at the fish counter at the grocery store, or working at the boat that hauls in the fish that become the grocery at the produce market or the fish market at the Whole Foods. Yada yada yada. That's where it taught me about the rotisserie chicken. Really excellent book. Secret Life of Groceries. Okay. Wonderful. Uh, and then to answer Carpe Bayet's question, he says PC gamer, console, and which? Uh, both. Was exclusively a console gamer until about a decade ago when I got my first PC and started playing PC games more. And now I would say the ratio is about 50-50. Maybe it goes up and down over time, but evens out to about that. Love them all. Growing up, I really only had consoles. I always never had like a PC that was gaming worthy, just one that was word processing worthy. So I never really had access to the classic PC games growing up, even though that was my era. Like when Dune was coming out, is when I was playing, Super Mario World and shit on consoles. But then when I got my first, I never had any grudges against PC. I always wanted one and just basically waited till I could get a competent one. And now I've been doing both. I have a pretty decent PC and a PlayStation 5 and a Switch. And hopefully very soon a Steam Deck. And I use them all a lot, interchangeably. Playing a Switch game right now, some Fire Emblem. Playing some PC games, some Deep Space ship breaking, and playing some PS5, some Returnal. So, again, love them all, and I appreciate the question. Okay, I've got one last bag in me. I'm going to do it here. And that's just going to be for everybody we missed before. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out, as always. Anybody who watched our premiere? Very likely won't be back until Monday. Let's just say I'm not going to be back until Monday. So I hope everybody has a kick-ass weekend. Get to do something fun and enjoyable. In addition to being high, or along with being high. This bags are everywhere. Well, I'll hang out with you for a few more minutes while I get through it. I guess I have addressed everything. Good for me. I still haven't started watching my anime that I promised people I would watch a couple weeks ago, which is Demon Slayer. Which I will do. I would like to do that this weekend and report back. We had a healthy discussion not long ago about what anime series to start. We came up with Demon Slayer, which is what I think I will still do. I'll hold myself to that. And curious what you guys are going to be watching yourselves and what you're doing this weekend. You guys have any interesting plans? Oh, last thing I'll mention before I go. I have a couple of dumb videos and stuff up on Instagram recently. I meant to upload reviews and shit to Instagram, but they just reject all of my uploads from PC for whatever reason. It was working fine for a while, but so I can't upload any reviews for whatever reason. No idea. But I have put up a couple of weird other things that I've shot. If you're interested, you should check them out. They're short. One of them kind of blew up somewhat. Like, I don't know. I'd never seen anything like it. But if you want to see where a grown man can flap underpants in the breeze,
Got my car dab after a full day. I got 1 gram resin.
oh man. Darklight, thank you so much. That's so kind of you, man. And I'm so sorry I have to bounce. We'll have to do our first dab bag in your honor next time. That's so generous. Thank you so much. Uninspired says Demon Slayer is one of the big ones. Have you seen One Punch Man? Excuse me. I've not actually watched any anime TV shows. I've watched some of the big classic movies now at this point. You know, I've seen your Akira's and your Ghosts in the Shells and a healthy number of Studio Ghibli shit. And I've been loving it. But I haven't dug into any TV shows. And I was looking for recommendations, crowdsourcing, as the kids say. And that's how we came up on, ultimately, Demon Slayer. And I don't think there's a whole lot of it to get through, too, which is cool. Oh, Tony looks like he's going to be spending the weekend watching Westworld. Tony, I loved seasons 1 and 2. I really did. Season 3, the backlash scared me. Is it worth it? Where are you concurrent? Are you like watching season 4? Does it get better? Is it worth it? I'd rather it just be a fondly kind of quasi-remembered thing in my head than have it just get mangled into this clusterfuck that it seems like it inevitably was ultimately going to become. But I've heard glimmers of hope about season 4 that it starts to unravel the mess a bit. And I hope to hear from you before I bounce to it. All right, I gotta finish this feed. And thank you for sharing, by the way, Tony. I appreciate the letting us know what you're going to be watching this weekend. Oh, shit. Okay. I promise I'm going to finish this off stream, but I'm going to cough to death if I do it here. And I've got to go. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been wonderful hanging out. Really, really do appreciate it. And I hope to see all of you guys next week when we are back on Monday after new review premiere. See you then. Tony says he's in season 3, but he wouldn't know because it's good so far. Thank you for the heads up, Tony.